at the end of the day, I think that's really what matters, where we all help each other out. And when we're judged at the end of our life, how many people you help, I think will be a good measurement of your life.
Welcome to the Producer Mindset, where we interview industry leaders about entrepreneurship, marketing, business development, and overall what it takes to run a successful business in, but not exclusive to, the real estate industry in today's age.
Welcome to another episode of the Producer Mindset. Today, our guest is Saul Pinela from Neighborhood Home Loans. We came across Saul Pinela actually in our most recent trip over to San Diego for NAREP at Latitude, where he was one of the top 10 Latino lenders in the entire country. He has been working in the real estate industry for quite some time. His ability to serve the Hispanic community has been able to help him get the growth and the success that he's gotten. His commitment to ensure that the best interest of his clients and those that he seeks to work with is unbiased, and his consultation is top priority. There's a bunch of accolades that we could go ahead and mention about Saul Pinela here, but we'll just go ahead and ask him ourselves. We're going to get to learn a little bit more about him, about what he believes makes him successful, and how he plans on continuing to grow and develop not just his business, but his personal brand, and really establish himself as this go-to market leader. So without further ado, let me go ahead and welcome Saul Pinela. Saul, welcome to the Producer Mindset, man. We're glad to have you here. I had mentioned in the intro that the way that we came across you was through the NAREP Top 250, and you are on the top 10 of that list. So I'm pretty sure one doesn't just get there through, say, a paid sponsorship. One gets through work and commitment and success, right? So, one of the main questions that we always ask our guests whenever they join us on this podcast is, one day you were born, and then the next thing you know, you're on this podcast talking to us. So would love for you to give us kind of a brief synopsis of who you are, what's brought you this far, and obviously just get to know you a little bit better, man.
No, absolutely. Thanks again, guys, for the opportunity to be here and share a little bit about the story. I was born in Chicago. I grew up there. I grew up here for a few years. And I think what really helped shape a lot of my character and ethic is I did grow up in Mexico. We moved down there around the age of 7, 8 years old. And we spent about 5 years out there. So a good portion of that childhood where you really get to experience some great times growing up. And I think being part of the culture down there and seeing the standards of living and how people worked really put a good imprint on my character and helped shape the rest of my life. Came back to the United States right before high school. I went to the University of Illinois. After that, upon graduating, my father got pretty ill with cancer. So I had to kind of step up and help my mom with, the mortgage and bills. And the current job that I had right after college, wasn't going to cut it. So I had a good friend that lured me into the mortgage business. He said he was doing great. I took a leap of faith, didn't know anything, jumped into it around the year 2002. I had to do a lot of studying at night, learning all the subprime guidelines and different lenders. But with the grace of God, we got through those tough times and been doing mortgages ever since. We've experienced a lot of the highs and lows. And there was a lot of dark years during the past 20 years of doing mortgages. But I always kept the faith and persistency of following through and keeping my dream alive of helping people.
That's awesome, man. So let me ask you this: as you and your dad, you see him go through these things, which I'm sorry to hear about that, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think that probably was a defining moment for you. how did that change the way that you were thinking, your mindset, or at least like what did that do to your character and your habits to the point where you said, okay, like I need to do something about it?
Well, I think I didn't focus so much on what I wanted, right? But on what I needed to do to help the family.
Okay.
So I there was a lot of sacrifice because friends are going out and traveling and having a great time. I had to focus on learning and sacrificing through those years of trying to get through and maintaining the lifestyle we had before. I was a young kid. I was like 22, 23, and at the beginning it was a lot of pressure, but we managed to get through it. Sorry, I get a little choked up when I think about those times. So
it's good. I think it's good to it's always better to, when you've been winning and you're now in a position that you're in, you get to seriously think back and look back and like analyze how much change, how much growth you've gone through, and obviously all the hardships maybe that stood in your way to where you're at today, all the sacrifices, so it's really good to see that.
Yeah, and that's what I share with a lot of the younger generation that's getting into the mortgage business. A lot of times they want success, boom, 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 right away, right? They want to go from closing 10 loans a year to closing 100 without putting in your time, and there's always a learning curve that you have to go through and some hardship to make you stronger. If everything is handed to you, that's where you get a little complacent and not realize the hard work it takes to keep consistent year after year.
That's crazy. So it's 2002, you started in 2002. What was it like kind of going through, I mean, we're in 2022 today. So what's up with, tell us about the times during kind of the financial crisis of 08, 09, or I guess 07 through 09. Kind of what happened, and how are you still here today?
During those times, we did have I had two partners that we opened up a small mortgage brokerage company, and we had a lot of friends and family that worked there. A lot of friends from college. My brother was there, cousin, and during that time, a lot of those guys, they joined us because we were all excited about starting a new venture. And then a few years later, this hits, and I really took it to heart because they gave up their regular full-time jobs to join us, and we weren't able to come through for them when we closed down. So during that time, we were writing loans, and then you get an email after email, this next bank is shutting down. We had loans there. Now we have to call clients with the bad news, and you can't do your loan. There's no more lending available.
Right.
Luckily, we were able to survive a few months during the crisis. I had to take a second job. I was writing insurance to kind of get a steady paycheck. So I was doing loans and then also working at an insurance company, selling life insurance, home life, auto. So I had to do what I had to do to keep afloat. We ended up closing our company. And at that time, it was kind of a relief or a blessing in disguise because we might have held on to it too long. And once it was closed, I could just focus on originating loans and not worrying about keeping payroll or expenses. But that incurred a lot of debts. We bought a lot of properties during that time. I had to go through bankruptcy. So there was times with, very, very little money in the bank to do anything much. But I thought about, leaving the industry during that time. I had a lot of people tell me, you go get a regular job. But, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. So we stuck with it, and, a lot of praying, a lot of reading books when you hit rock bottom. And that kept me strong throughout those times. And, I'm grateful that I kept with it.
That's really awesome. And, there's times when you feel like things are you're just down and out, and those are really defining moments, I think, for every individual. What would you say when you were in that rut per se? How did, apart from like what books were you reading, what were some of the things that you were listening to or even thinking to get yourself back up and begin all over?
It's an audio called The Strangest Secret, where it talks about hardship and keeping a card with you at all times. I thought I had it right here, but having a Matthew 7:7, reading it over and over again, reading books. I read a lot of The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, The Greatest Salesman in the World, a lot of OG Mandino stuff. A lot of that stuff I would have never came across if I didn't get that hardship. And I still read a lot. I mean, well, I should say Audible now, right? Because on the road or at the office. A lot of Wayne Dyer books, John Maxwell, so a little bit of everything.
I love it. That's one thing that, just to kind of let you know, a lot of our audience is, we have a lot of people that have been in the industry for a while. We've had some people on here that are just, titans in the industry, but we do have a lot of people that are younger in the industry, maybe weren't around during those times. And what's kind of one piece, one anecdote that you can kind of leave with someone that's maybe new in the industry, having gone through such adversity in 2008 and 2009? I
think sometimes we might overcomplicate the actual steps needed to succeed. I think from my experience, I kind of discovered key things as being consistent every day, having discipline, and being willing to learn. So being consistent is what I take that into effect is, if you're going to update realtors every day, make sure you do it whenever you speak to a new lead they give you. You have to call and update. You have to keep that consistent, because I think a lot of things that real estate partners want from a lender is, if I'm giving you a lead to call, I want to get updated, whether you talk to them or not, right? Sometimes we might get lazy and say, well, I'll update the realtor whenever I get a pre-approval done. Mm-hmm. But keeping consistent and just letting them know this is where we're at. Being consistent with your clients, of updating them throughout the process. Keeping consistent of being to work early every day, and really dedicating yourself to serving people. Our job is to serve as a mortgage lender, I think, to serve the real estate agents, the attorneys, the clients, our underwriters. You always want to be courteous and attentive to everyone's needs. We're no one bigger than anyone else. So I think a lot of times some lenders may say, well, we'll get back to them tomorrow, but we've got to be empathetic and put ourselves in their shoes.
Absolutely.
Discipline, I think being able to say no to things like staying out late, going out for drinks. And I say that from experience because I've been through that, and it doesn't help you. I think when I really hit my stride is when I was really able to focus on those things of being consistent, disciplined, and always trying to learn new things. Because when you're on the phone with someone and they ask you a question, you want to be confident, you want to be responding right away and not sounding that you have doubt or I'll get back to you.
Hey there, really quick before we dive into today's podcast, would you do us a favor and rate and share this podcast? That would help us out tremendously for blowing this thing up. We're not really big on asking for these types of things, but we really want to expand and be able to bring on more cool people like today's guest. If you can, take a minute. It only takes a minute. That would be great. All right, let's get to it.
With the amount of experience that you've had in mind, going over the past 20 years, going into this market in particular, what do you believe are the attributes that successful lenders, realtors should have in order to not just continue going through this current market, but actually growing within the market?
I think your mindset has to be really positive, because there's so much negative talk right now about rates being high, multiple offers, people not wanting to buy. And when you express that feeling with your buyers, they're going to be discouraged. There's always positive, buying a house, regardless of the market. If you're paying rent, it's always a positive thing to buy a house instead, creating your wealth. So you have to be able to share the positive impact that you're going to have for not only yourself, for your future, for your family. You have to be, up to date with all the new programs out there, down payment assistance programs, things that could set you apart with helping families, being able to structure purchases with, seller credits, combining it with down payment assistance. I think as agents, also knowing, being ahead of the curve with being more active with clients of looking for properties that might fit their needs instead of just putting them on an automatic feed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a disservice to a lot of buyers, because a lot of times that automatic feed might not be, if there's the automatic feed might just focus on one certain city, but maybe a block away, which is a different city, there's a perfect house for them. So little things like that, I think we need to go above and beyond in this market. There's a lot of competition. So we have to kind of separate ourselves, and the way I always think of separating ourselves, there's a great book called The Carpenter, and it speaks about serving with love. Not focusing on what you're going to make per transaction, just focusing on helping people and serving them. And at the end of the day, you'll be rewarded.
That's very
That's
cool.
amazing. So I kind of want to dive into kind of, the transition from, where you were selling insurance, after the crash. Can you talk about the transition from going from insurance, kind of splitting your time and splitting your focus, to dedicating yourself 100% back to your business, and kind of just the trajectory of the business that you've developed? Because you have some, you're closing a lot of loans. It's, you're building an amazing business. I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear some insight as far as like, who are the first people that you had assist you, and kind of just talk about the structure and the trajectory starting from, the beginning till now.
Yeah, it's great questions. So when I was doing insurance and mortgages, luckily with the insurance part, I had a mobile laptop that they gave me. So I was able to work out of the mortgage office and then run up quotes to do the insurance. And I was helping a lot of clients that were buying a house at the time. So that kind of was an easy sell, doing their auto, home. But it was tough to maintain both jobs at once, because the insurance did have more requirements. Hey, you got to hit certain quotas every month.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sell a certain number of investments. If not, we're gonna, get rid of you, because we're paying you a base salary plus some commission. So I was able to survive that for a year. And, that was a lot of hours being worked. I was probably working about 12 to 14 hours a day during that time. And I held on to it as long as I could. And once I left the insurance, back to the mortgages, which I was always doing, but now focused 100% full time. I got blessed at working at a company that the owner also had a real estate office. So I met a lot of agents there. I did end up leaving that company, and I kept the relationship with a lot of the agents. That previous company had closed. So at the new company I went to, which I've been there now for about 10 years, I was able to keep a lot of those real estate relationships. And when I started at the new company, I really had that dream of getting a team, because I would have months where I close 14 maybe, and then the next month dip back down to 7. just because I would get bogged down with trying to close those loans in the pipeline whenever it got pretty large. And the next month I had kind of a hangover because I didn't do enough to prospect for new business. So the solution was, what do I need? I need someone that's smart, reliable, and has a little bit of mortgage experience. I didn't want someone already with a lot of mortgage experience because people might have bad habits.
Right. Absolutely.
So I found a great girl, which she's still with us on the team. She was helping collect conditions, running the loan through like automated underwriting, a lot of the front end stuff, which left me a lot of time with, meeting with real estate agents or calling borrowers and providing better customer service. So that helped grow the business. And then I added a second person, which would help more on the marketing side, attend closings, take like a gift basket, sending updates to all parties. As we continue to grow, then I needed more help keeping up with the leads. So I added a loan officer, a licensed loan officer. So now we have 4 loan officers on the team to help with appointments, and they're growing their business as well. But it all happened because, everyone that started working took they had faith in me and I had faith in them, and we all worked together, and they've all grown together, and which is, a really great feeling because they're able to support their family. And at the end of the day, I think that's really what matters, where we all help each other out. And when we're judged at the end of our life, how many people you help, I think will be a good measurement of your life.
That's well said. And as you've been growing your business, as you've helped others within your team grow their business, as you've helped families and people get into their homes and things as such, what did you believe to be true when you were getting started, in your career? Really, what did you believe to be true that would make you a successful loan officer that isn't true today?
When it first started, at the company, they kind of spoke about being flashy. Go buy an expensive car, expensive watch, a fancy suit. At the end of the day, that really doesn't have any say in how you succeed in the mortgage industry.
Because you could have all of that and still be kind of a crappy person.
Exactly. Or you could buy all that, but not living paycheck to paycheck. So
right.
Absolutely.
So,
that's really cool.
I mean, growing a team, being a leader in the industry, that requires a lot of discipline, right? And a lot of kind of juggling and kind of building the plane while you're flying. And Michael and I have absolutely experienced that over the past 3.5 years of us being in business. And one thing that we kind of hold each other accountable of is always trying to strengthen our discipline. And what's kind of one piece of advice and kind of your interaction with, staying disciplined with your time management, and kind of how do you go about your day so that you are able to, add as much value as possible and help as many families as possible?
The biggest key, I think, is waking up early. Waking up early, getting to your office with enough time to go through your emails, have your coffee. That way, by the time 8:30 or 8 a.m. rolls around, you're ready to go. I'm ready to go, make things happen, no distractions. Email eats up a lot of time. So getting that out of the way first, setting up when you get into the office, I think that saves a lot of time and puts us in the right mindset where we're being more proactive instead of reactive.
I love it.
Very good. Sorry,
one more thing on my end. So we, building a team has been a tall task, and finding the right people and making sure that they are bought in with your vision and aligned with your ultimate goal. It sounds like you're a man of faith, and I know that you know, with that comes a certain level of integrity that you have within your business, and you carry yourself a different way than maybe other people. How do you get your team bought in, and how do you make sure that everyone is going in the same direction at the end of the day?
You know, that's always a challenge, but again, like a couple people on the team, one of the original girls that started, she brought on her sister, so it was kind of the same character, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I already knew that they had the right upbringing, the right mindset, hardworking, very, very honest and ethical, very supportive in being a team member.
Mm-hmm.
No selfish, they're not selfish at all. Then I brought on my cousin as a loan officer. Same thing, I've known all my life. We worked together for a long number of years. If I ask him for something, he's gonna, you know, more than willing to cooperate. Same vice versa. We're always here to support each other. Mm-hmm. Another, he's kind of a cousin. We've known each other for pretty much all our lives. He joined the team as well. So it's been a close-knit group. Other new people that came in that were not family or friends that we've known. Kind of have that sixth sense. I want to say sixth sense, but I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. And just from the initial conversation, I always follow my heart and my gut, whether this person's going to be a good fit. You know, we've been lucky. We maybe had one girl left because she got married and had kids and she was going to be an at-home mom. But other than that, really no one's that's joined the team has left. You know, we try to do some activities together. We have daily meetings. Now with COVID, it's a little hard for everyone to get because some people started working from home, but we still try to do Zoom calls every morning at 9 a.m. to go over the day of what we got planned.
Nice. Awesome. Thanks so much. That's great.
And the last question I personally have is, currently, are there any people that you look to, you listen to, any mentors, anyone that you draw some sort of inspiration from, and how do you apply what this person or people might say, the way they think, to your life, to your business, and your character?
I listened a lot to, I kind of joined some of their training programs, Robin Sharma. So he speaks a lot about really expecting excellence from your craft, serving people, doing good. It's a lot harder to do good than, you know, to be bad. So when someone says something derogatory about you on an email during a transaction, or someone gets upset, it takes a lot more strength to let it pass and let them know that you're here on their side. So I think I get a lot of inspiration from Robin Sharma's classes that he has online and audios that I listen to almost every day.
Very cool. Cool. Well, you know, this is one of those things for us in particular, as we're growing and building a business, is constantly learning and looking to see how other leaders in the industry and people really take their vision, bring it to life, and obviously continue to grow, continue to succeed. I want to personally congratulate you again on being on those top 10 of the NARAP 250.
Thank you.
What do you have planned for 2023?
We want to become recession proof. So regardless of the market, we want to make sure that we always improve every day. We really, you know, on one of my cards, I'm trying to look for that quote that I have. On the back of it, I have, of the prayer, I have that I'll be closing 40 loans per month. So that's always the goal to shoot for. And I read that every day. I have it here on my cell phone. So as a reminder, Try to get the subconscious working mysteriously somehow.
I love it.
I love that, man. Well, thank you so much. So, where can people find you online?
My website is saulpinela.com. That's where they could find me there, apply for online application. We're on Facebook, just Saul Pinela team.
Very cool, man. Well, I appreciate you being part of this podcast. And of course, we look forward to seeing how going into 2023, Saul Pinela and team conquer becoming recession proof. So that'll be cool to see. That's going to be a great video and example for a lot of people, I believe.
All right. Thanks, guys. I really enjoyed the time.
Of course,
thank you so
man.
much.
Thank you.